Good morning. My name is Al Kose, and I'm one of the volunteers here at the Army Heritage and Education Center in Carlisle. We're going to talk a little bit today about the American M4 medium tank. It's probably one of the most prolific tanks of the Second World War. This particular example is one of the earlier versions. This is the M4a3 Tank. This one is armed with a 75mm main gun. And if we move to the commander's weapon station here, it's also got the caliber 50 machine gun up top where the commander is. And it also has two M19 1930 caliber machine guns. One of those is mounted coaxially with a main gun, and the other is mounted here up in the front of the tank. And this one is manned by the bow gunner. And if you take a look at the bow gun, he can move that up and down. He can show you the way that ball turret works. The Sherman Series, there were over 49,500 of these tanks manufactured during the Second World War. The only production totals that exceeded this tank were the Soviet T-34 series. This series of tank was used by every one of the Allied nations during the Second World War, to include England, the Soviet Union, and even the nationalist Chinese received Sherman tanks as a result of the Lend-Lease program. So it really was a vehicle that had a strategic effect on the war, just because of the numbers of those that were out there and the number of the Allied nations that used them. This tank was infamously reliable. It actually had an operational readiness rate of about 94%. In other words, it was ready 94% of the time, as compared to some of the German tanks, which operational readiness rates usually hovered around 50 to 60%. For us, it's really a labor of love to keep the history of these things, alive, and to talk to the public about the experiences of soldiers that served on them, and to get the opportunity to come out and be on them again is really very special for us. So that's really the motivation. But most importantly, to convey the story of the soldiers that served on these tanks and keep the history of the armored warfare of the U.S. Army alive.
Through the mud and the sands of a dozen foreign lands, U.S. tankers are fighting the foe. Men of iron take the bump and a million jarring thumps, but the tanks keep on fighting the foe. So it's roll on to victory. Let the enemy feel our might. Hey, we'll roll